What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success. And in this video here, what I want to talk to you about is simplifying inside of your clothing brand in order to get better results. I want to talk to you about how simplifying every single aspect of your clothing brand, from the brand concept to your marketing strategy, to your processes and your daily activities, how simplifying is the answer to increasing the results for your clothing brand. Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at Design Crowd. And if designs are something that you struggle with, you need help with for your clothing brand, then I can't recommend you a better place to go. You post a project on Design Crowd, amazing designers from all around the world are going to compete for your project. You choose the winner, then you get that design plus revisions. I've sold hundreds of this hoodie through my website in the past couple months, and I got the design made through Design Crowd. If you're interested, head over to designcrowd.com/apparel to learn about the special offer that I have for you where you can save up to $100, or simply use the discount code apparel when you post a project on Design Crowd. All right, when I think back on the first couple years growing my clothing brand, it's embarrassing for me because everything was a mess. My brand concept didn't make any sense and it was kind of unclear. My marketing strategy wasn't honed yet. I wasn't focused on what was working and trying to get simple with that so that I could scale it up in any meaningful way. And even just the processes of dealing with my inventory management, dealing with fulfilling orders, all of it was completely chaotic. And I really didn't have a good grip on what I was doing. And I have a feeling that if you're a new entrepreneur, if you're starting up a clothing brand, you're struggling with this as well. Because there's so many different components to growing a clothing brand that everything can really be overwhelming. And when things are overwhelming, it tends to paralyze you and it really holds you back from being efficient, because that efficiency is what's going to allow you to really lock into a strategy that works, that's getting really, really good results. And that's also how you're going to unlock the compound effect for your brand. I want to go over the different ways that you can simplify your brand and all of the different components of your brand to make it a lot easier for you so that you have clarity with what you're doing and so that you have focus moving forward into the future so that you can set goals and actually achieve them without being overwhelmed. The first thing that I want to talk about here is your brand concept. There's something called brand chaos. And what brand chaos is if you have too many brand drivers that are all communicating different things and that aren't cohesive and unified. And so what brand drivers are basically the adjectives that you use to describe your brand. So if you go into the messaging of your brand, as we're talking about your brand concept here, your brand drivers are the words that you use in your messaging to express to your audience what your brand's personality is all about. And one mistake that I made when I was trying to communicate my brand concept from the beginning was that my brand drivers were all over the place. I wasn't communicating a simple message from using all of my brand drivers that would really create order within my brand and the way that people were perceiving it. Instead, what I was getting was brand chaos. And brand chaos is what the majority of clothing brand owners that I'm looking at have within their clothing brand. And it's where you don't quite have a good grip yet on exactly what your brand is all about. And you may know what it's all about intuitively inside your gut and the way that you're feeling, but until you're able to find the right words to perfectly express that, you can't say that you know exactly what your brand's all about, because your ability to express your brand concept clearly and simply is what's going to really communicate to other people that you know what your brand's all about, that you know who you are, and that you know what your personality is. And this is such a crucial component for your brand to get any results. Simplifying your brand concept, using as little words as possible, but using the right words in every area where everything is unified and cohesive, is basically going to create a powerful brand. That's what's going to make your brand potent, and it's what's going to click into people's brains when they come across it. It's going to trigger them to want to buy your clothing. Another component of your clothing brand that you need to simplify in order to get results is your marketing strategy. For the longest time, I was just throwing darts, hoping something would stick, and I had no clear strategy that was simple that I could rely on to work to produce orders for my clothing brand through my website. And the secret to this is to try a whole bunch of different things at the beginning. it's important for you to, really test things out, because when you first get started, you truly don't know what's working. As you're testing things out, look at what's working for you and then double down on what's working. Look at what's working and sharpen that process, chisel that process, get that process as efficient as you possibly can, and don't continue to just do random things forever. You need to find that thing that's working for your clothing brand so that you can begin to scale up your strategy. And the only way you're going to be able to scale up, the only way you're going to be able to grow and progress to the next level is by simplifying what's working and getting better and better at it. Even things like stocking your inventory and your shipping process. It's really easy to overcomplicate these things and make them way more complex than they need to be. When it comes to your shipping process and your order fulfillment, make sure you know where everything is in your room. You know where all the sizes are. You set up a nice, simple workstation, and you know how all the labels are going to print, so that you've got a workflow, so that you don't need to think while you're doing these things, and so that it's really just about getting involved in the process to be as efficient as possible. And that's really what a system is at the end of the day, is it takes away your need to think. You shouldn't have to be thinking while you're packing orders, while you're shipping out orders. It should be simplified enough where all of this stuff is easy for you and where you don't need to think about it, so that you can apply all of your mental bandwidth and all of your mental resources to the areas of your clothing brand that actually require your prefrontal cortex, the area of your brain that requires willpower, where you need to really think and put in that hard work to problem solve and get around the real challenges that your business is facing. Our brains are naturally problem-solving machines, and they are this way because the environment that we evolved out of, it required us to be constantly problem-solving to stay alive. And so this problem-solving mechanism takes place when you're running your business, and it likes to create more complexity and more problems than even need to exist. And so getting clear on these things, really simplifying and organizing, is an unlock for you to get to the next level of your clothing brand. And it's a really obvious thing, but it's just a natural tendency of ours to overcomplicate things, to make things more complex than they need to be. And sometimes you just need a reminder that things can be simple, and that what we're doing here doesn't need to be anything special. It's about creating a brand where you've created something that's beautiful, that has value, because hopefully you're talented as a clothing brand owner in your ability to do that. But beyond that, all of your processes can be simplified to a point where you don't need to be stressing out about them all the time. You don't need to be freaking out. I really love sharing this message with you on this channel, because I know that a lot of clothing brand owners that have been running for a while, and a lot of new entrepreneurs, this is just something that you struggle with in those beginning phases, because you really don't know what you're doing and you're trying to figure it out. And sometimes just hearing this message can really land and get you excited, because you can kind of see the value that simplifying everything will do for your clothing brand. And so I really hope that this helps, and I really hope that it offers you a lot of value growing your clothing brand moving forward. If you liked it, hit the like button for me. It really helps get these videos out there, and drop a comment. I'd love to know what you think. And if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to tell you about the closed Facebook group that we have going on for apparel success. There's a link in the description. Follow that link, join us in the group, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.